News, the Supreme Court handing President Trump a major loss, ruling he does not have the power to enact the sweeping tariffs he unveiled last April. Let's bring in MS Now Justice and Intelligence reporter Ken Delaney. And Ken, this is not a president who is used to being told no. Is this, do you see, a turning point for the next big decisions we're expecting out of the Supreme Court?
I don't know if the justices would see it as a turning point, but what is definitely happening is that early on, Donald Trump did very well at the Supreme Court on a lot of procedural issues. He won a lot of rulings. But now we're getting to some really big ticket items. This was one of them. But then there's some other ones upcoming where a lot of legal scholars believe the Supreme Court is not going to rule in his favor. One example is the birthright citizenship case, where Donald Trump is trying to redefine the 14th Amendment of the Constitution and who can be a citizen in this country. That was argued in April. Remember, initially they looked at the question of whether there could be a nationwide injunction in that case, and they ruled that there could not be, but they didn't rule on the merits. That's coming up, and a lot of people believe that that one's not going to go Donald Trump's way. Another big case involves the firing of Fed board member Lisa Cook and whether Donald Trump can remove her for cause related to something that she didn't do while in office. That's a really big case about presidential power, and it's a very good chance he's going to lose that case. And then there are a number of cases involving immigration and DHS and the use of emergency powers, essentially limits on the president's powers that are going to come before this court. And it's really possible that this court is going to constrain Donald Trump in ways that he hasn't seen before. And it'll be really interesting to see how he reacts. We know that he tends to attack judges when things don't go his way, as do members of his administration.
And among the 6 justices in the majority in this decision are Chief Justice John Roberts, Justice Neil Gorsuch, Justice Amy Coney Barrett. Those last 2 were appointed by the president. What message did they send, whether intentional or not, to President Trump?
Well, I think it's been very clear for a long time, and this tariffs case underscores that none of those 3 justices are lackeys for Donald Trump. They don't necessarily share his administration's view of executive power. They're certainly very conservative. This is the most conservative court in modern history, but they are independent. And the question of whether they're going to remake, for example, hundreds of years of law on citizenship, it just doesn't seem like their style, particularly Roberts, who's an institutionalist. And so, again, Donald Trump may be in for a rude awakening here with some of these big cases down the line.
Ken Delaney, and thank you for your reporting. And now I want to bring back Lisa Rubin and Catherine Christian, our legal minds. So, Lisa, you've been digging on the refund issue. There was at least some initial thought about how that could work. It's going to be difficult to put the genie back in the bottle. The court doesn't give real